I don't think a Seeing Stone is going to help me with this. Season 1 of the Spiderwick Chronicles is about the Grace family who must find the pages of the field guide their great-uncle Arthur Spiderwick made and stop the Ogre Mograth from killing everyone in the town of Henson. Hello and welcome back to another review from HLHReviews. Today I will be reviewing Season 1 of the Spiderwick Chronicles, the recent TV show from the Roku channel and the second adaptation of the book series of the same name. Now, if you haven't seen my previous review of the movie, allow me to repeat myself. I never read any of the books, but I've always had nostalgic value towards the 2008 Spiderwick Chronicles movie, just ever since I saw it in theaters. And I still continue to enjoy it. It's a decent 3-star fantasy film that I think everyone of all ages can enjoy. Now, when I heard that they were going to make a TV series that's based on the books, I thought it would be, cool to see what else they can offer from the lore that may or may not have been in the movie version, and maybe give us like a nice alternative world of, the fantasy world of the fairies and sprites and all that. It was supposed to be released by Disney, but then, they handed it over to the Roku channel after production was completed for whatever reason. And I eagerly, just decided to sit back and just enter this new fantasy world. And, wow. This was rough to sit through. And let's talk about it. And we're starting this review off by gobbling the buckets of popcorn, which there's not much here to gobble up, but the biggest good thing I can say about the show was that the acting was fine. Everyone in here, they give fine performances for the characters that they're playing. Christian Slater, gotta love the guy. He's probably the biggest standout here. He's given a good performance of this version of Mograth. So yeah, everyone else in the cast here, they're not an embarrassment. They gave it their all. And the visual effects, they were fine as well. Not worse or even better. But the visual effects were fine, mostly on, the fairies and Thimbletank and all that. And, yeah, that is all I have to say about the good in this show. And now it's time to go to the dumpster fire to throw the bad shit in it. And, woo, here we go. There's a lot of bad. So, let's just go and get this over with. The Grace family here, they are anywhere near as good as the ones we got in the movie version. Jared here is just a troublemaker because of his short temper and occasional outbursts. Simon is a pacifist and nothing more beyond that. Mallory is the sister who just wants to be a fencing champion. And then you have Helen, who is the mother that's overprotective of her children. And she doesn't believe in what Jared or any of her kids are saying of all these magical creatures that her and Lucinda's been, trying to tell her since she was a child. Lucinda here, not sympathetic at all in comparison to what she was in the movie, and Arthur Spiderwick may as well never have been in this show to begin with, because he serves little purpose in the show other than, the finale, which I will get to. And overall, it literally feels like none of these characters get any kind of meaningful character development like they got in the 2008 movie. And the same can be also said for the characters that surround the Grace family and even these people that they ally with, like, maybe aside from Bree, who has this tragedy with her mother, they also just don't feel like they're getting meaningful character development, as characters. And even in the attempts where there should be character development, some of the shit just falls flat. Like, they constantly do this thing with Jared, where he's just having all these outbursts, like, oh, you're all just tricking me. No, these magical creatures, they shouldn't even be trusted. I don't trust any one of you. And I am not kidding you. They constantly do that in this show. And they cannot decide on having any of these, having Jared having any of these outbursts that is even relatable to any kind of development, or just have them trust each other to stop Mulgarath. Just give them development like where they can, see Mulgarath shapeshift into Dr. Brower, and, after learning how to trust each other, they all get together to defeat Mulgarath. Was it seriously that hard when you were writing this? And what they decided to do with this version of Simon is he's basically siding with this shifter girl that he befriends and, I guess, somewhat has feelings for, and Mulgarath, to help kill the town. But then they try to basically turn that around by having him in the finale and be like, oh yeah, I only, pretended to be on their side just so I can help you all. Even though there was no breadcrumbs along the way for, to have the audience guess whether if Simon is on the family side or Mulgarath's side. One of the most baffling choices that they made is that you have Christian Slater playing this Dr. Brower character that Mulgarath is disguising as throughout the whole show. And Jared does not find this out until the end of the 3rd episode, after he accidentally eats cookies that were made on iron. That would have been a cool reveal for the audience, and maybe that would have been a little bit interesting, to watch, if they weren't spoiling it in the trailers in the first scene in the 1st episode. Like, when I watched the ads that were constantly playing on my Roku, and when I watched the first scene, I said, guys, what the fuck did you just do? And because they could have very easily cut the trailers and maybe even the first 2 episodes or the first 3 to where they don't spoil any of that, to just give you a nice reveal. And because they end up spoiling that to you, none of Mulgarath's plan, and not even the plot, has any tension whatsoever. And even when you see the family discover along the way that, oh yeah, Dr. Brower, and even Helen just lazily discovers this along the way, it's like, yeah, no shit. It's not like I didn't know that because you didn't fucking spoil that shit to me in the 1st episode. Like, just why the hell did they have to do that? Why the hell couldn't they just, make it mysterious? Like, have, a sort of whodunit aspect of, having Mulgarath disguise himself as any of the characters along with Dr. Brower to, trick the audience, just to add tension to the show. And all the while, we can figure out and, just finding out along the way, and we can have fun with it. Why the fuck did you need to spoil that shit in the 1st episode and even in the marketing? Now, Thimbletack, I did not like this version of the character at all. In the 2008 film, he was helpful to the kids, even though when he got angry, he would turn into this boggart. So you basically have a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde split personality of a character. This version is basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde mixed together, but they just don't push for it 100% of the time because he's not, really being helpful to these kids up until the finale, and he's just mischievous throughout the whole thing, and it does not work whatsoever. We even get, pointless moments throughout this whole thing where, after, we see this shifter siding with Mulgarath, and, she's looking at a mirror in one of the earlier episodes, and, the music's, all building up, we're gonna rise tension, and then it just, cuts to her walking into a room and just be like, oh, yeah, here I am, guys. Oh, my God, you even see Thimbletack. There's this scene with Lucinda's funeral, and, they're playing Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive, and you see Thimbletack dancing to the music for no fucking reason, even though this is supposed to be a sad scene for him. And then we get to go back to the shifter where she and Simon are on their way back from New York from looking for his father. Because I guess they just wanted to do a reverse of what we got in the movie where, Jared finding out the truth about, the divorce and everything. And yeah, no, you did not make that any better. You just made it generic and it's not good and it's not well developed whatsoever as it was in the movie. But then at the end of the episode, she tells him, to put these sunglasses on so he can see, who she really is behind, this human that he sees. And so while Simon puts it on and he sees what she looks like, we never get to see that. It's not shown to us in any way, shape, or form. And they even try to tease that again in one of the last episodes, and we don't get to see that. You're literally going to, tease us with that, and you don't even show us what she really looks like in order to make us feel somewhat sympathetic for her? Why? Oh my god, there's other pointless moments I could point out, like the last thing that I'll point out is that where you have Lucinda, who narrated the first episode and, just during the first scene, and we don't hear her narrate again up until episode 6. And after the end of that episode, we don't get to hear her narrate again. And her narration, it's not serving any narrative purpose or to really excite us in any way where, it could be, intriguing a little. No. It's just here just because. Why? Why even have narration from Lucinda if you're not if you're not gonna have it serve any purpose? Why just randomly give us that shit in 2 episodes? Some of the shit they were doing that were pointless, some of it was actually pissing me off. And the final thing that I'll criticize is that I did not like the way they wrapped up the finale of this season. And look, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling to anyone who gives more than a mouse pissing on cotton, but spoilers, I guess. So you have Mulgarath controlling the town, the townspeople of Henson by turning them into these fungus human-like creatures, which just looks like it came straight out of The Last of Us on HBO. And then you have Bree, who does not stab Mulgarath through the heart with this special sword that they had to get from the Goblin Market. And Mallory is supposedly now pure to hold the sword, even though we've been proven how many fucking times since episode 6 that she's not pure. And then that leads into this small, poorly choreographed fight scene between Mallory and Mulgarath. Then Jared summons this troll to eat Mulgarath. Then after that's taken care of, the fairies, they go around town curing everyone from the sleep sickness and, getting rid of the fungus on their faces. And I guess just to test a little bit of your patience, instead of ending the show there, they have to leave you on this cliffhanger by having Mulgarath somehow surviving the troll attack, and he imitates Jared so that the real Jared gets stabbed with the sword by Mallory, and he gets sent to this, I guess, fairy world where Arthur Spiderwick is. And then they basically tease you that the real Jared's gonna have to figure out how to get out of the fairy world and to finally kill Mulgarath for good.
What the hell was that?
Just why the hell would you wrap season 1 like that just to do this poorly thought out cliffhanger, just to basically tease for a season 2? Because you could have just easily cut the show off after seeing everyone being cured, and maybe that would have been a little bit satisfactory. But no, apparently we're just gonna, let's just tease the audience to just tease the audience for a second season that I sure as hell don't think it's ever going to happen after seeing the reception it's been getting. So yeah, guys, in conclusion, I did not like this show at all. Was it the worst thing I have ever watched in my life? No, far from it, because I've seen a lot worse. But I just did not enjoy this at all, and I don't know jack shit of the books' lore, but if you're a fan of the books, then I don't think you're going to enjoy with what they did in this show. So, I guess if I'm ever in the Spiderwick mood, I'm just gonna have to keep rewatching this one. Or maybe if I'm ever in the mood for it, maybe I'll come around to reading the books. Because I don't see myself rewatching this ever again. And I highly doubt we're going to get a second season to this show. So all in all, if you just want to be in the Spiderwick mood, just watch this one for the first time and just pretend that this show never happened. And even though I do not like saying this, if you're in the mood for fantasy, I highly recommend you invest your time in something else. So wrap this up with my rating. Season 1 of the Spiderwick Chronicles lacks any of the charm from the 2008 film Counterpart, and what you're left with is a poorly written show with no fantastical world to explore around you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please tell me how you feel about this show down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and see a lot more videos from me in the near future.